Welcome to the Corona Diaries. My name is Rivers Langley. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. This is episode number 44 of the show. Up top, I'll just say, sorry it's been taking so long to get these out. You know, the original point of this podcast was to sort of sit down every day with Sam and Carter and kind of talk about how we're doing and moreover, talk about the crazy state of the world. And that was a few months ago, and now the state of that world is caught up. You know, we're all three of us are quarantining in different spots because of exposure to the coronavirus and stuff like that. Carter is quarantining over in West Hollywood with his girlfriend. Sam is obviously across the hall. So we're doing this whole thing by phone now, which is fine. It just takes a little bit of time to produce and everything like that. So thank you so much for being patient working with me. But I am really proud of these episodes. I think they have turned out awesome. So I hope you guys like this one. Hope you think it's funny. In just a second, I'm going to be giving a call across the hall to the Kramer to my Jerry or Jerry to my Kramer. I don't know. I don't know who wants to be Kramer right now or ever, but you know, my next door neighbor, your friend, my friend, co-host of the show, Sam Harder. I'm going to give him a call first, and then we are going to talk to Carter over in West Hollywood and talk about the very, very strange ongoing Aunt Jemima situation. They killed Aunt Jemima, y'all, and conservatives are mad about it. It's very, very strange. So we're going to talk to Carter about that and some other stuff. And then we're going to be chatting with my friends Monika Scott and Alex Luchun. They are hanging out in New Orleans, Louisiana. Monika and I, along with my roommate friend Luke Jensen, we actually have a separate podcast called What Did You Learn, where we talk about documentaries. So if you've not subscribed, check out What Did You Learn. Hopefully we're going to be doing a new one of those pretty soon. And let's see, what else do I have? Go to my Twitter at Rivers Langley and retweet my pinned tweet to Wayne Knight. If you listened to the show last time, we talked about trying to get Wayne Knight to record a birthday message for my friend's son's birthday coming up next month, and that's going good. We've got quite a few retweets on that, but if you're listening to this and you haven't done it yet, retweet my pinned tweet to at Wayne Knight. Let's get that going. And go to Apple Podcast, rate, review, and subscribe. We got a few new ratings. That's very cool. That is the best way to spread awareness of this show. Patreon.com/thegoodspod. We're going to have a Patreon episode. It's going to be a little bit late this week, but it is coming out on hopefully Thursday or Friday. I'm going to be recording with our friend, co-host emeritus, Dr. Pat Riley, and we're going to be talking about a very, very terrible wrestling pay-per-view that is available in its entirety on YouTube. So got Bad Wrestling coming up later this week. It's going to be great. And then we'll hopefully have another Patreon episode dropping Monday. So you're going to be getting the normal amount of Patreon episodes. They're just going to be a little bit more spread apart than they normally are. But trying to keep up with all the content. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and give our friend Sam Harder a call.
Hello?
On the blower from approximately 50 to 60 feet away across the hall.
I'd say that's being generous.
It's goddamn Sam Harder. What's up, dog?
Not much at all.
I mean, should we talk about why aren't we in the same room? What happened?
I was in the hospital on Monday because I had multiple seizures.
Shit, man. Yeah, I told folks that I mentioned that you'd mentioned it on social media and stuff like that. So I told people who follow us on Patreon to text you, and everybody who follows you on Twitter to tweet at you. So I hope we got lots of well wishes.
Yeah, a lot of people have been reaching out. It's nice. Thank you, everybody who has. I appreciate it. It makes me feel good. When you have a seizure, or when I have a seizure, I don't even know what's happening. I just black out, and I go into convulsions and whatever. And then when I wake up, I'm still blacked out, and I'm in a catatonic state, walking around, and I don't know. I had a seizure, right? And my roommate found me on the bathroom floor. That's where you want to be if you're having a seizure. And so she calls 911. I don't know what the fuck is happening. I wake up to some firefighter talking to me. And then apparently I just instantly got up and then just started getting myself a glass of water. just like straight out of a seizure, just like stumbles into the kitchen, and they're all just like looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Whoa.
And then I told him I didn't need to go to the hospital.
Oh, shit.
And for some reason, I have a choice in that. And they didn't take me to the hospital.
Whoa.
And then like 30 minutes later, I had another seizure and went to the hospital.
Oh, man. Well, shit.
Yeah.
And which hospital was it? Like, how long were you there?
Hollywood Presbyterian. I was probably there for like, I'm not really sure when I went in, somewhere around like 5 or 6, I would assume. And I was there until like 10:30, something like that.
Yeah, which unfortunately is just that's definitely long enough to necessitate sort of quarantining at this point, correct?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Would you want to hang out with somebody who just got out of a fucking hospital?
Oh no! Believe me, I'm more than fine chatting with you on the phone here for the immediate future.
Yeah, it fucking sucks, man. Because I've been doing so good about not going out and putting myself in risky situations.
And then you just go straight into a COVID dungeon.
Yeah. And they kept trying to, like, say that I had to wear a mask. And then, like, next thing I know, I'm just not wearing a mask.
Oh, whoa.
And I don't know how the fuck that's happening. I don't know why they're letting somebody who just had a seizure choose whether or not they go to the hospital or not. That's terrible.
Right.
I don't know how they expect somebody who just had a seizure to wear a fucking mask when they don't know what's going on at all.
Yeah.
When I just had a seizure and then my go-to move is to make myself a glass of ice water. Like, that's gonna fix shit. And then I also, when I was in the hospital, I like ripped out my fucking IV. I thought I lost my cell phone, but I was just laying on it for 4 hours in the hospital.
Yeah, because Jossie actually texted me to tell me what was going on and everything, and she said, like, oh, we're looking for his phone right now. And I was like, damn, where's his phone? And that's hilarious. It was under you the whole time.
Well, yeah, because when I first was in the like hospital, I could feel my phone in my pocket. So I knew I had it on me. And then at some point, I guess I had tried to get it out or just fell out or fucking whatever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. It was a big mess. That whole day, a big mess.
Yeah. It sounds like it, for sure.
And then they shot me up with a bunch of drugs at the hospital and then let me out. At one point, I thought they were shooting me up with fentanyl, and I was like halfway excited because I fucking was having the worst time at the hospital, but they just shot me up with something else that sounds similar to fentanyl. And definitely is not.
Damn, they were withholding the dragon from you.
Yeah, there's people in there screaming about wanting painkillers. There's all sorts of yelling going on in the ER, which seems to be a thing I've witnessed there before.
This isn't the first time this has happened, right? Since you've lived in LA?
No, this isn't. I got diagnosed with epilepsy probably like a year ago or so. It took a long time to actually diagnose why I was having seizures. I had my first seizure episode like 2.5 years ago, maybe. And I had never had it before that. But since it started, I've probably been to the hospital like 4 times, maybe.
Shit.
Something like that.
And then of course this is, like you said, definitely not the time that you would want to be there. So I'm glad that you didn't have to stay there for that long.
Yeah, and hopefully it's cool, because I think a lot of the times lately they've been trying not to let COVID people in with the normal part of the hospital, but how good can they actually do that and all that fucking bullshit?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
now I got to be worried I have COVID.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, though. That's what's important.
It's getting better every day.
That's good. That's good to hear.
It's like if you had a computer and you just like unplugged the cord from the wall and then you plug it back in, but it takes some time to like reboot,
right, Right, yeah.
It might be a little slow upon startup, and I'm kind of getting past that now.
You've almost gotten to the login page before you go.
Yeah. I might not have the password, but I'm there.
Oh, man. Are you down for one crazy-ass news story that I've got?
Yeah, what are we talking about?
This is from the Orlando Sentinel. Justin Arthur Allen Couch. So the guy's name is Couch, which I already love that.
Yeah.
25 years old, was arrested Tuesday and charged with aggravated battery after an incident where he struck a man in the arm with a machete. The victim said that he'd been standing outside of his home arguing with Couch on Saturday night, and during the process of that argument, Couch began slapping the victim's arms and legs with the flat side of the machete's blade. So they're having a fight, and he's just like kind of smacking him with the non-business end of the machete, just in the middle of this fight. When tensions flared, Couch then swung the machete at the victim's face, and in order to block the strike, the victim quickly placed his left arm in front of his face. The left forearm was struck with the blade of the machete. The victim felt severe pain and then passed out. Couch later took him to a friend's house, and this friend drove him to the hospital where he is expected to recover. So that story in and of itself is, it's awful. It's horrifying. No one should ever have to deal with that. But, Sam, I would like for you to guess what the alleged perpetrator of this crime, Justin Arthur Allen Couch, I would like for you to guess what he has tattooed on his face.
White pride.
No, it's it has a little bit more to do with this story in particular.
Oh, damn. Is it machete?
It is a fucking machete. He has a machete tattooed underneath his left eye.
Damn.
So it's like, hey, man, you shouldn't be friends with this person in the first place. That's what I'm saying. If you hang out with a guy who's got a machete tattooed on his face, at some point he's going to hit you with a machete. That's just what's going to happen.
I respect his branding.
Yeah, for real.
He knows what he's all about. He advertises it. Here's my thing. You're in an argument with a guy. He pulls out a fucking machete.
Yeah.
Well, why do you not just be like, I'll sleep on this one. I'm going to go back inside my house now.
Yeah.
Or like at that point, you would be kind of justified in calling the police if somebody's threatening you with a machete.
They said that they were arguing about whether or not he could come over. Like the guy with the machete tattooed on his face pulls up in this guy's driveway, comes out of the car with a machete in hand, and the guy's like, "Hey man, you can't come in." And then they get into a fight that results with him being hit with a machete. Like it's like, why would you even have to answer or ask that question? Why can't I come in? It's like, dude, you have a machete in your hand and on your face. You can't come in the house.
Yeah, we're in here. We're trying to have a game of Monopoly.
Yeah, we're eating grilled cheese sandwiches and reading the Bible. Okay, we don't need Machete Man.
He was trying to have a different kind of party, I think.
Yeah, he was on a different trip, as they say.
Do you think, like, after he leaves, they go up to the friend that invited him, like, don't fucking invite the guy with the machete. He's not fun to be around.
Yeah.
He always just wants to show off his machete.
Yeah, I assume this is like, kind of methy, because this is like Central Florida, so I'm assuming there's meth involved in both parties, maybe, allegedly, but it is way funnier to imagine that the guy who got hit with the machete is just the most straight-laced, like, Mormon, just like, hi, how are you? How's it going? Machete, how are you? Are you having a good day? Hey, wait a minute, what are you doing? What are you doing with that machete?
No, you cannot come inside my house. You must sheath that machete.
This is my private domicile, sir. It's just a fucking dork. He's like wearing a bow tie. He's dressed like Tucker Carlson.
See, it's plausible, but they're probably just all on drugs and drunk.
Oh, 100%. It's just very funny to imagine like a dad, a dad guy just being like, Machete, we've been up and down this road several times and it's just not appropriate. We've decided as a family that it's not appropriate that you hang out. And the guy's like, what? And he's just this maniac.
That is a question I have. Do you think it's sheathed or does he just carry it around? Open carry style.
100%. He's got a belt with a fucking sheath on the belt, and he carries it.
Yeah.
Because if he's got a machete tattooed on his face, having a machete tattooed on your face means that your relationship to machetes is the same as those guys who bring pool cues to billiard halls. You know, you know everything about the machete. You've got the gear for it. Like you're really into machetes.
Definitely. That's probably not his only machete tattoo.
Oh, it's definitely not his only machete. I'm sure if you go to his house, it is just a wall, fucking an arsenal of machetes.
They're probably just in a pile. I doubt he has any sort of organization to them.
I don't know. I feel like the machete is the one thing he cares about. The rest of his life is in a fucking, just clothes on the floor, fucking spilled food. It's gross. But those machetes are immaculate.
He's got the machete hanging above the mantle.
Yeah.
And the rest of his house is like a hoarder's bachelor pad disaster.
Right. Although apparently he didn't keep the machete sharp enough to cut the guy's arm off. He just fucked his hand up. But the guy is going to live and be, probably have limited, use of his hand, but hey, he's gonna be fine.
See, I used to know somebody who would work with a machete because he was a land surveyor, and they frequently have to walk through brushy areas.
Yeah.
And apparently, if you swing a machete like a baseball bat, it does not work good.
Oh, you kind of have to do like an upward sort of motion, right, and kind of do it at a diagonal.
Yeah, you got to do like a whip sort of motion to it.
I've seen people doing that, where they kind of flick their wrist when they're using it.
If you've ever used a knife in a kitchen, you can't just push down on the knife.
Right, yeah.
And I think it's the same sort of principle with the machete. And you would think for a guy with a machete tattoo, he would know better.
Sam, where can people find you online?
Slam Harder on Twitter.
All right.
Check that out, folks.
I'm super happy that you're feeling better and hope to be in the same room again very soon.
Yeah, thanks for the call, man. It was good talking to you.
All right, dude. Peace. Calling in from west of Fairfax, right, is our friend.
Oh, it's Carter Glasscock.
Hello. What's up, dog?
Hello.
Well, there is no other way to start this show off today other than this headline. Aunt Jemima brand to change its name and remove the image of Aunt Jemima from the packaging due to racial stereotypes. Well within their rights. Seems pretty straightforward. The company.
It's like we get it. We get why this is should happen.
The only part of this story that pisses me off is the line I'm about to read. The company announced over TikTok that it would remove the character. It's like, come on, be adults, please. Let's get a press release. Let's get
let's make the rounds here. We don't have to do it over TikTok. It's not like kids are all about what's cool this summer? Aunt Jemima syrup. Kids don't give a flying fuck about Aunt Jemima syrup. It's like, dude, you know who you're marketing to. It's like fucking people knocking on death's door in fucking nursing homes. That's people who use Aunt Jemima syrup. Well, and your boy.
Right. The brand is owned by Quaker, which is owned by Pepsi, which I just found out today. So PepsiCo said that the Aunt Jemima brand will donate a minimum of $5 million over the next year to, quote, create meaningful, ongoing support and engagement in the Black community, which to me sounds like, corporate bullshit speak, but okay, whatever. At least they're doing something. There's going to be a recurring thing in these Facebook comments that I'm going to read, and that is there is a woman named Nancy Green. Nancy Green was the original model who portrayed Aunt Jemima in 1890. So this is
Nancy Green.
Nancy Green was her name, and her image on the original packaging of Aunt Jemima was much more stereotypically offensive, what you would think of as the mammy stereotype from something like Uncle Tom's Cabin or Gone with the Wind. And then in the 80s, they gave her current look. They got another model to come in, and they gave her a lace collar, pearl earrings to show people like, oh, she's not a slave. And I'm just wondering, like, if the internet was around in 1989, if people would be fucking mad that they replaced the woman with the headscarf with the current.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it'd be the same like impotent argument where it's like, well, they're taking away our syrup. It's like, they're not taking away the syrup.
Yeah,
they're not taking away the syrup. Like, why do you love his racist image of the past? Like, why do you love it so much? You're just not going to eat the syrup now because it doesn't have Aunt Jemima on it? Like,
well, it's been you've seen the argument online from right-wing people kind of evolve over the past few days from just knee-jerk sort of shitheadism, which I'm going to read for sure, and now it has turned into straight-up right-wing like care trolling, them being like, oh, you're trying to erase the memory of Nancy Green. Like, it's literally people taking up for the model who played Aunt Jemima. And to that, I would say, okay, then call it Nancy Green's fucking syrup and get a picture of her not dressed like Mammy. Like,
have like not done. Aunt Mammy's. Yeah, like you call it Nancy Green. Yeah, Nancy Green syrup, which has a ring to it.
That sounds fine. I would love that.
I feel like the big argument behind this for conservatives is going to be like, and on top of it all, it's like one of those things, like, first they took away our rights to be outside. Then they said we don't have no cops no more. Then they took away America's funny man, Chris D'Elia.
All of this sounds great.
And now they're taking away Aunt Jemima. I'm sorry, but there's a line that's been crossed.
Man, that list you just rattled off sounds like a paradise. Everybody just has to stay inside. It's like, all right, that's fine. No cops, no Chris D'Elia, and they got rid of Aunt Jemima. Great. That sounds like the world I want to live in.
No sweaty herpes like music festivals. No more money to cops. Chris D'Elia is done, and also we're going to stop making syrup racist for some reasons.
Like,
okay, great.
I got some comments here, and I tried to cull them from a few different sources, but anybody who wants to just see the disgusting maggot-filled underbelly of America, go to any Fox, ABC, NBC, or CBS affiliate of some town in the middle of nowhere and read the comments on their Facebook, because that is where you find the deepest, truest shitheads in the world. So this is from Fox 7 in Austin. Shout out to our friend Ben in Austin, our friend the grocer. He tagged me in these comments. So, and I was just like, my jaw was on the fucking floor as soon as I started reading this stuff. So this is from the Fox 7 Austin Facebook page. Carol Flaquette says, "Idiots! I actually respected this woman, and as a little girl, I thought I could cook one day like her while I was half asleep at the dining table trying to eat my breakfast. ... Everyone loved her."
It's like, let's say that which is not true, that you like that she inspired you to cook, which is insane and not true.
She's not real.
She's not real, and she doesn't cook. It's just a visit. It's just her face. It never shows her like porn. Like, it's just her face.
Yeah. I think
if you're talking about the picture, you mean like so as a girl, you assumed that all of this syrup was made by the Aunt Jemima.
Oh, we are about to get deep into like at what age did these people figure out the truth about the Easter Bunny and Santa and shit? Like,
I was about to say, they must have fucking freaked out when they were told that Santa and Aunt Jemima aren't real.
This is Wendy Alvarado says, "Why? No! This is what makes the syrup unique. Her beautiful picture!" 6 exclamation points.
So you're just now admitting that the syrup tastes like shit.
That's the only thing that makes it unique. That's what she's. That's
the
what
racist
she's,
caracature is the only thing I buy.
That's why I bought it. Exactly.
I hate this swill unless it has that picture on it. I understand.
Our buddy Troy Walker actually brought up a great point on Twitter where he said, "Hey, you know who's never been racist? Real maple syrup." And that's true. If you get the good shit, it's just in a bottle shaped like either a maple leaf or it's just in a glass bottle.
What more pageantry do you need with syrup?
Yeah,
For
exactly.
Christ's sakes.
Yeah, get the real shit. The real shit's great. This one is, I swear to God, from a woman named Paola Noyola.
That's got to be an internet name.
I'm sure it is. Paola Noyola says, "You really have a sad little life if you think there's a racial stereotype in Aunt Jemima's branding. Aunt Jemima's branding and beautiful smile brings us all back to those memories of our parents making us pancakes on the weekend. I hate people." And I think that last part is the problem. All that shit you said before I hate people was not the issue. It's that I hate people part that might be your big deal.
The whole thing is like, it's fine if you want to live in a fantasy land, but like your fantasy land is racist.
Right.
It's like you could, like, you know what I mean? Like, what's it fucking to you?
Yeah.
It's this whole thing of like traditionalism and how it's like this warm blanket of, I remember when I was a kid and everything was racist and good with the world.
That's what it is.
It's like, just because it's comforting to you and you were raised with it doesn't make it fucking right or good. It's just something you just admitted that you were fucking brainwashed.
Yeah. Well, I think
into seeing that it was nothing's wrong with it.
This is going to sound crazy at the beginning, but I think I'm right here. This is not entirely dissimilar from the disease of like 80s and 90s nostalgia, where you kind of go back and you watch some of these things that you loved as a child and you're like, oh, well, it's actually not that great. It's whatever.
Right.
But that is the maturity that comes with age, is being able to acknowledge like, oh, okay, I thought this was good because I was small and my brain was stupid. But now you're in this situation where it's like these 70 and 80-year-old people who are like, but the 50s were good. And you're like, no, man, they were shitty. They're
awful.
They were really awful unless you looked like you know?
It's like why they're like the depression rates and suicide rates are the highest during Christmas, because people can't let go of the past. It's like, let go of the fucking past. Like, there never was a Santa. Your parents had to fucking save money for months to buy your stupid ass presents that you didn't even appreciate.
Right.
So which is a weird thing to get off topic on, but it's also I wonder if like
it's exactly on topic, because that's what this is like, this is people staring into the void, looking at the end of their life and reassessing their youth, and somebody is telling them the things that were symbolic of your youth, of your virility, were actually evil.
It's also that, like, if you identify so much with Aunt Jemima syrup, you didn't make anything. You didn't fucking leave. You didn't leave any sort of fucking mark at all.
Yeah.
If you're that upset about this, like, which is you're not. The thing is, they're not even.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the same thing when someone types LOL, ha 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 ha, and then you watch them do it and they didn't even flinch. It's like the same thing. These people are just burping and farting as they type this out in all caps. Well, I never. Like, they're not like breaking their keyboard to type this. They're just, they want to be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And be antagonistic.
Well, there's definitely some of these that are kind of knee jerk, and then there's others like this one over here. Let's see. Paula what does that say? Paula Heatherly Barton says, "I actually bought this product because it was good, and I admired that woman. I believe she was aligned with the product. I believe she represented women becoming successful. You just lost me as a consumer, Quaker Oats. These overreaching responses are making the public feel you think we are unable to..." Okay,
to write a coherent sentence. Yeah,
to think for ourselves and fuel ridiculous.
And fuel ridiculous.
Fuel ridiculous.
And I get it, because the whole reason I got into stand-up and trying to be in entertainment and stuff is from the WB Frog, which is,
Michigan J Frog.
Yeah, and I know he's offensive, but he's an emblem of my childhood. And, if you took that away from me, my life would be a hollow, empty shell. What's this all for? Eventually, they're just going to take me out like they did Michigan J Frog or whatever his name was.
They're going to put me in the box, and then no one will hear me sing except the one guy.
That's right. Hello, my baby. Like, they'll hear it just further and further. So I get it. I get the outrage. It's like the Land O'Lakes butter, where you just like, wow, that existed.
Till this moment.
Till this moment. It's just like one of those things where you're like, Jesus, like... That was living on borrowed time for 20, 30 years?
At least.
Offensive visage? It's weird how it lasted for that long. And everyone just dismissed it as casually racist. And they're like, what are you going to do? Some things are just racist in the world.
and one of those things is syrup. It has to be.
It's syrup.
It doesn't taste as good if it's not racist.
Syrup just has to be racist, I guess. I don't know.
This is America. We have racist syrup. That's what we do. That's what we're known for.
Of the battles being fought right now, it's like, this is an easy one. This is take old Yeller out back and put a bullet in its head, because we don't need racist syrup anymore.
Yeah, that was Austin, Texas. Now we're going to go a little closer to our neck of the woods. This is from WHNT in Huntsville. Okay, so this is Huntsville, Alabama. Let's see. Kim West says, wow, how stupid that lady worked her whole life promoting that name. She's not real.
What?
She didn't work her whole life. She's not real.
That kind of misunderstanding, I'm more like, if she like really thinks there's an Aunt Jemima being like, you're taking it away from me now? Please.
You're gonna kill me? You're gonna throw me overboard?
You're gonna kill me?
Yeah, they throw Aunt Jemima off a boat like Osama bin Laden.
It's like one of those things where, do you remember when your parents told you that Santa wasn't real?
Yeah, I remember it exactly, because my mom had such a funny answer to it, where I was like, Mom, is Santa real? And she goes, well, if you want to keep getting presents, he is. And I was like, fair enough. So, and like, I knew, you know what I mean? Like, I knew in that moment, but I've always respected that as an answer. I'm like, great answer. Because like I've said before, my parents, we didn't do church at all. We didn't give a fuck, but we overdid Christmas. And I feel like that is the way to raise the kids. Atheist with Christmas is great.
I totally understand that. I remember when my mom told me that Santa, she was like, is Santa real? She's like, well, what do you guys think? And
she gave you a Socratic dialogue. I love it.
Yeah, but it's like, what do you guys think? And we just were kind of like, sure. It's like the same thing. It's like, I'm just glad that we were raised in households where it wasn't like a liability that we would freak out when we realized Santa wasn't real. Like, these people were raised in an environment where they were like, every mythical character has to be real, or their reality completely is upended. Yeah,
you tell them Santa's not real and they start freaking out. It's like, Jesus, Sharon, do not give him a fucking gun for Christmas. Lord.
Oh my God.
Susan Pfeiffer says, if we could change people like we are changing names, it'd be a great America again.
Yeah, I mean, wait, it'd be a great America again?
It'd be a great America again.
Is she doing like a Chet Hanks sort of thing right now?
Yeah. Oh, God.
I feel like she might be.
This one is from someone named Arrow, which I love. Arrow Terry says, y'all leave Aunt Jemima alone. She's been Aunt Jemima since before your mama was born, and she's all of our aunt. We love her, and she is perfect.
This isn't like we're not saying like Aunt Jemima's ugly.
Arrow stands a queen,
I mean, I get it. Is it okay on the podcast to have your mind changed to the other side on the air?
Yeah, that's fine. We get it.
Okay.
She's beautiful.
Because, she's beautiful. And honestly, people are trying to tell her she's ugly. And it's like, no, she's not ugly.
Well, it's fucked, man. The woman who's currently on the box is the 1989 version of Aunt Jemima.
Nancy Green.
No. Nancy Green is the original Aunt Jemima from 1890, and she was on the package from 1890 until 1989, and that is the one that if you go back and look at that is just some straight up like minstrel show, like fucked up bullshit. The way that they have her portrayed. I mean, there is literally an image from the early 1900s of her in like, full kind of kitchen slave regalia being surrounded by a bunch of like debutantes with like the big ass like Scarlett O'Hara dresses and the umbrellas. Like they could not have made this any more. It's amazing that it took till 1989 for someone to be like, hey, can we stop having a straight up slave on this box, please?
It's not even that. It's like that would be like more righteous and correct. It'd just be like, how do we soften this image? Let's soften this image.
Well, that's what they did, but in the process of it, like Nancy Green is, kind of a larger woman than the current Aunt Jemima. So I'm like, oh, you just made her less fat. You fat shamed Aunt Jemima and you didn't fix the issue. you just changed her to a thinner woman. Fuck y'all. Like, well, I don't know. You didn't do anything. You didn't solve the problem.
This is how like systemic racism works, is you just kind of like keep rephrasing it.
Yeah.
And keep like, making it seem more and more. It's like, no, she's just friendly.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
So eventually it just like people forget what they were even mad about. The obvious thing to do should have been done years ago. It's like the longer something's around, it seems harder for it to just be removed. Like, how hard would it be to remove Aunt Jemima? It's like actually be really easy. You can sell the same fucking syrup.
Yeah.
It's just, and
I bet people will buy it. It's it's fine. These are from Dallas Fort Worth, NBC DFW, and I want you to keep in mind that they announced this 2 days ago. So they are officially retiring Aunt Jemima as of just 48 hours ago. Jessica Sands says, I don't buy their products anymore because of this. I buy the 10-pound bag of mix from Sam's Club instead. That is their Members Mark brand. And Hungry Jack syrup doesn't taste as good as Aunt Jemima, but I just cannot support this company. It's like, she says in the past tense, I don't buy their brand anymore. It's like, this just happened. You just found out about this.
She had a feeling something was coming. They were going to do something about this.
She knew it was racist, so she stopped buying the product in anticipation of the anti-racism.
When she sees someone about to come to their senses about stopping being racist, she immediately cuts ties.
She's like, nah. Like the best like galaxy brain for racism.
It's like racism is like the dark side of the force. Like you can tell when it's like when it's weak in somebody when they're about to be turned.
She's just like, oh, I've been playing 4D chess with the Cream of Wheat chef and Uncle Ben all week. I know they're going next. I'm already mad at them.
Oh my god! No, if only she could use her clairvoyant abilities for good rather than evil, and not by purchasing syrup.
This is the last one, and this is maybe the most confusing. This is Margaret Reyes. Now this is getting out of hand. Are they going to stop putting Mexican women faces and names on the Mexican products and the Asian products? I was like, are they putting Mexican women on Asian products? Is that a thing that's been happening? I'm sure that's
happening. Are they talking about the Tapatio?
I think she's talking about the Cholula lady. She says...
The Cholula lady. Oh, the Tapatio is a man in a sombrero.
She says, are they going to stop putting Mexican women's faces on Mexican products and Asian products, too?
And you hate to see it. You really do.
Joan Blasingame. By the way, it goes without saying all of these people are white. Joan Blasingame.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I figured why ask. We all know what's going on here.
Joan Blasingame says, when I shop, my eye looks for familiar icons, and I always buy those brands that I trust and love. If I don't see the faces of Aunt Jemima or Uncle Ben, I will buy another brand. And I was like, are you an octopus? Like I'm only attracted to shiny objects in the grocery store.
I think a lot of people, and we've come to understand this now through quarantine, but pre-quarantine, going to the grocery store that's when people got out of their house. It was the only time.
Absolutely.
So they're very much like, you don't change my visit to the damn grocery store, okay?
I got a certain expectation, and that is African Americans in a role of servitude on my boxes of fucking starch.
You gonna take that away from me? You changing up my weekly visit? Then we got us an issue, my man. And it's all white ladies. Actually, it's all white ladies posting this stuff. I'm sure it's all on Facebook too.
Yeah. Oh, this is all Facebook. Yeah, because I kind of looked at Twitter for a minute, but the funny shit was all on Facebook because it's literally all like old white ladies just being like, "I believed in Aunt Jemima when I was a child, and you can't do this to me."
Damn.
like this one says, "I may not buy them now. Aunt Jemima has been family as long as I can remember. This saddens me." I'm like, what is your life? What is your life?
That fucking statement saddens me.
That's so crazy.
Aunt Jemima is my family? That's fucking absurd, man.
Only family I've ever had. Tony the Tiger, Aunt Jemima, and Diggum the Frog.
And that leprechaun fucker. What's his name? He's another serial friend. My whole family was there. Beavis, Butthead, the South Park Kids, Tony the Tiger. Also, I haven't spoken to my son in years, which is fine. My snowflake son, he didn't like Aunt Jemima either.
He moved to big fancy Cleveland because he's too good for me.
He's too good for me. He moved to fucking St. Louis to be with the rest of the artists. And you know what I mean when I say art. I'm putting that in quotations.
Oh shit. Well, as long as we're on this subject, we kind of mentioned that Black Lives Matter has spread worldwide. There's been increased visibility in countries all over, and I have a story from England, and this is very much in line with the Aunt Jemima story. A borough councillor repeatedly used the N-word at a council meeting and has been suspended from the local Liberal Democrat Party. Dennis Parsons said the word 4 times at Monday's Cheltenham Borough Council meeting. Why was he saying that word? It was in the context of a story about changing times and the name of his family's black cat in the 50s. The cat was named the N-word.
You really wish that the cat would. You really wish the cat was just named like literally the N-word and not
the actual one. No, it's named the actual. It's the real hard R word. Which as awful and horrifying as that is, I do think it would be funny to have. I know the cat's dead, but it would be funny to have the cat testify, in front of the council. Like, look, I had no part in this. I'm not able to name myself. Like, put a little wig, a little judge's robe on him or something. Make him the mayor.
A little feathered wig. Hear ye.
You feel bad for the cat. That's what I come away with this. I'm like, man, the cat didn't do anything to deserve this.
Hey, look. My name is Carter Glasscock, and I had no say in that.
Right.
I'm sure that cat became cool, and he was like, I didn't name myself. I hate my name, but I can do something positive with this life.
Parsons apologized for using the word, but he said that he used the cat's name to, quote, show how different the culture was then. And during the meeting, Mr. Parsons said his mother would shout the family cat's name from the front gate every day.
Jeez.
His mom would stand there and scream the N-word every day.
Simple misunderstanding.
It's just a simple.
I'm sure a lot of people had to have it explained. Oh, that's the name of the cat. Oh, see here, I thought you were just being crazy, screaming the N-word. But
I thought you guys were terrible. But no, you just named your cat the N-word.
See here, I thought. Well, you can imagine what I thought when I heard it. But
he added, quote, now, obviously, you can't do that because the culture has changed. It's like, good. The local democracy reporting services said the comments were made during a debate to review the authorities' policy in the wake of George Floyd's death last month. When local party members themselves convened 2 days later, they instantly voted to suspend Parsons' membership. So, well done. In response, and this is absolutely the sum total of the last story and this one. In response, Parsons said that he was, quote, obviously sorry if he'd offended people's sensitivities, but he had quoted something that was perfectly acceptable in 1945.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it's not 1945, you fucking psychopath.
Well, it's hard for some people to let go of the past.
Yeah, and it shouldn't, for the record, it shouldn't have been acceptable then. 1945, the fucking army was still segregated then. Like, it wasn't cool then, and it's not cool now.
Were people still dying of syphilis and shit then?
Yeah. Anyway, that was, just like a sweet British, just imagine a sweet little British lady on a front porch just screaming the N-word in 1945.
Wasn't H.P. Lovecraft's cat named that too?
Yeah, it was.
That's crazy. I remember you told me that, and I was like, "Oh man, I like H.P. Lovecraft."
Yeah, if you start typing in H.P. Lovecraft on Google, it automatically fills in cat name.
That's insane.
Oh man!
Oh my god, man.
Well, yeah, I got one last story to run by you.
Sure.
And this is another international one. This is from Kanpur, India. A 6-year-old street monkey named Kalua was a native of the Mirzapur district. That is until 2017, when Kalua went on a spree of bitings. Kalua bit over 250 people in the district, one of whom died. And according
oh my god,
this monkey was just going on a biting spree. According to the reports, Kalua was once the pet monkey of an old local occultist who would give the monkey liquor to drink every day. Over a period of time, the monkey
is riling the fucking thing up and getting it drunk. This is not how we do business, sir.
Over a period of time, the monkey became an alcoholic, and when the old occultist died, Kalua's liquor supply got cut off. Soon after that, Kalua was turned loose onto the streets, where he became very aggressive.
God, see, this is how many times do we have to say it? Don't give the wild ape alcohol; they go crazy.
As he went on his biting spree and created terror in Mirzapur, forest and zoo teams were called in to catch the monkey. After several efforts, Kalua was caught and brought to the Kanpur Zoo. Quote, we kept him in isolation for some months and then shifted him to a separate cage. He's been here for 3 years and there's been no change in his behavior. He remains as aggressive as he was. It has been decided that he will remain in captivity for the rest of his life. If he was set free, he would harm people wherever he went, said the zoo doctor. The good news is he has recently befriended his cage keeper. So, yeah,
that's nice.
He turned 7 in prison doing life without parole. No one could steer him right, but the old occultist tried,
Oh my god, that's I mean,
they gave a monkey a life sentence.
I mean, here's the thing, they're assholes, they bite.
I would think that it would be slightly cheaper, instead of keeping a monkey incarcerated for the rest of his life, would it not be cheaper to just take him to another city and just drop him off and let him be their problem?
I mean, here's the thing too, that we have, and I would include alcohol in this, we have too many violent and non-violent drug offenders in the prison system.
Yeah, that's right.
And here's the thing. You need to get this monkey on a 12-step program.
Yeah, let's get Kalua to drug court,
Yeah, Kalua to drug court, and, he's like, yeah, I mean, of course I was a drunk. I was named Kalua, for Christ's sakes,
I never had a chance. My father was an occultist.
My father was an occultist, but instead it's like,
yeah.
But you see it what he's saying through subtitles.
Yeah.
He's like in a little circle, put him in a bathrobe, give him a cigarette, and introduce him to Jesus, which is the last part I've heard of those things.
That's right. That is the next step. Yeah. Well, Carter, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Carter_Glasscock on Twitter and Instagram.
On the phone now, I am so happy to be joined by my friends calling in from New Orleans, Louisiana. It's Monika Scott and Alex Luchun. What's up, y'all?
Hello. I waved. They can't see me.
Yeah, well, that's been a thing of doing these kind of long distance Zoom podcasts and stuff. Is a lot of people have started recording them and then like sharing the video, and I'm like, oh no, please.
I know. Yeah, no, it's okay.
It's why I'm secretly really into this whole not having to go anywhere to do comedy thing, because I don't have to shower or look like a person.
Yeah, all you have to do is cash those checks.
Yeah, those massive comedy checks that we all love and depend on.
I'm still getting drink tickets in the mail.
Well, yeah. How's it going? This is the first time we've chatted since what was the last documentary we talked about?
Oh, Hands on a Hard Body.
That's right. So yeah, this is the first time we've talked since we watched Hands on a Hard Body for What Did You Learn?
Yeah, and nothing new has happened in the world. Everything stayed exactly the same. Everything's good and peaceful and fine.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, we're good here. You know, we were homebodies before this all started, so we're not too upset at continuing to stay home.
Well, that's good. That's good. Not too much of an adjustment for you.
Yeah, I like it. I like cooking all my meals. I mean, it is the few times we've gotten takeout, I will say it's felt like the most decadent treat in the world.
Oh, yeah, I felt like I could like hide it from my neighbors, or it's like buying a huge TV where you're like kind of like taking the box apart before you put it outside on the curb so no one knows.
Have y'all had any weird like neighbor stuff? That's what I've been asking people. My theory being the only two places most people have been up until at least the protest started was their house and the grocery store. So have you guys have weird neighbors or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a handful of weird neighbors just by the nature of there being, like, this street was hit pretty hard during Katrina, so there's a lot of different houses that were left completely empty. Not necessarily abandoned. People still like owned them, but occasionally like someone would just move into them, and you would. And I don't even know if I could call them squatters because it doesn't really feel like they were squatting so much. Like I think that a guy that owns a few of the houses would just let that guy stay at them.
Uh-huh.
But it was evident he had no electricity or running water, and he would leave, and his dog would bark all day, which was like this old yellow lab kind of thing. But otherwise, like when he was home, they would just wander around the neighborhood. I don't think the dog was very old, so they walked really slow. I wish this was funnier or more interesting.
I was like, wow, you're really going in on the dog.
This dog deserves to be roasted.
The dog seems fine. It was just old, you know. But anyway, that guy, like, he was there for a while, and like it went from like us having a very kind of like, you know, neighborly, like, hey, how you doing, wave kind of thing, to him just like not acknowledging me, but I had done nothing.
Why are you mad at me?
Well, you know, the introduction time between you had passed, and a friendship failed to blossom, and he figured abandon ship. He was waiting on you to make the move.
We do have directly across the street. There's like an old man who is on the porch in like a sweat stained wife beater and sweatpants, maybe like 9 hours out of the day. He's not unfriendly. He waves to you every time you come and go, and sometimes he'll even say out loud like hello.
He has a really, really thick Cajun accent.
Mm-hmm.
And like they live in a double shotgun. And he just sits on the porch all day, and he doesn't go anywhere.
He has one of those big trucker mugs full of liquid.
Who knows?
And his wife is like a teeny tiny lady with an equally heavy accent, with a very butch haircut that's like spiked with gel. Uh-huh. And she always has a Bluetooth in, and she is I'm terrified of her.
She has one of those the accent plus voice combination that just sounds like it's a Cajun car horn. Like just on occasion, Like she'll just be outside, and she always has a Bluetooth thing in her ear, always. And you'll just hear her just be like, "Well, you don't want to come out and try the shirts on."
That's what she sounds like.
You want to try the shirts on? Like that like all day. The dogs are barking downstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's outstanding.
The neighborhood is really a symphony of her screaming and dogs barking and roosters. I do also have a rooster I'm obsessed with. That's my favorite neighbor. I've sent you videos of this rooster.
Yeah. Y'all get the wild chickens in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, and this particular rooster that I love is like old, I think, and so. I mean, listen, I have all these wild theories about what's going on with the rooster.
There are a lot.
Welcome to Monica's Rooster Fanfic Corner. Here we go.
I have no real concrete evidence as to what's actually going on with the rooster, except for, like, he's always alone. There's, like, a group of chickens, like, babies, and then the mom, and then there's another rooster, and I saw them get into a fight in the middle of the street one day. So I get the sense this guy is a lone wolf rooster. But every morning, not every morning, but a lot of mornings when I go outside, he's on that guy's front porch, like right at his doorstep. Yeah. And it's behavior I've never seen any of the neighborhood chickens really exhibit.
Wow.
And I love it. It's very funny.
There used to be a rooster named Cornbread who like hung around in Auburn. That like a lot of my friends who lived on like the very northern end of Ross, where it kind of comes to a dead end. that was Cornbread's territory, and like Cornbread would just come around and hang out. Yeah,
I mean, Alex even came home one day with chicken party mix from the feed store for me to give to the rooster. I haven't ever gotten to give him that because when he's on their porch, I don't feel like. I don't want to approach the porch because I don't want to talk to that guy's wife.
Sure.
But I fed the hens and the little baby chickens every so often. And someday I'll get that rooster to love me. And when Ron is the name of the man across the street. I know that because his wife screams it at him a lot.
Like what? Like angrily or?
It's tough to say. I mean, that's just what that voice sounds like, you know?
They have a really strange relationship. Well, I think that he fakes being deaf or like hard of hearing.
Oh, I do that.
They will yell at each other. Like she'll just be like, "You want to try on a shirt?" And then he will literally go, "Huh?" But then his son will come over and I will hear them talking to each other in like regular volume.
Yeah, I've watched like people walk up to the house. I also sit on the porch a lot, so I'm sure he has a mirror version of this story
on his podcast. Yeah. It's called Shirt Talk. We talk about shirts. Rod!
I've seen people like approach the porch and be like, "Hey, your wife told me to come by," and he'll go, "What?" And
customer service.
Yeah, and they'll be like, "Oh, your wife told me to. I can't hear you," and he just like.
That's a good tactic. I do that all the time. If I'm like working and there's somebody wants me to do some shit, just pretend you don't hear them.
Yeah. I've never tried that. I'm too eager to be spoken to, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do that shit at Chick-fil-A. They'd be like, "We need more fries." I'd be like, "Huh? What?" and then if you do that long enough, someone else will just do your job.
See, that's the trick.
Just pretend to be either disabled or an idiot, and people will just...
Perfect.
Yeah, that's my secret to life. What's been the situation down there in the grocery store? That's the other thing I been asking folks. What?
It's cool. It's like the regular grocery store setup, except there's like a table with just a whole bunch of spilled hand sanitizer on it.
Yeah.
That you can rub your hands in.
Off. And then there's a whole thing of like gloves, but everyone's touched them. And then There's a bunch of masks that no one's showing anybody how to put on.
Oh, no.
So there's people just putting them on and it kind of looking more like a cummerbund than anything. just like some sort of like, you know, 3-piece for the face.
There's been some wild mask placements I've seen.
Yeah.
Like beneath the nose, above the bottom lip is maybe one of my favorites I've seen. That I'm like, what do you?
Wait, beneath the bottom lip, like just a chin, like an Abraham Lincoln.
Above the bottom lip, so it literally just covers your top lip, basically.
Yeah.
But not your nostrils and not your mouth, really.
I think I did that as a child the first time I ever had a surgical mask and pretended it was a beard and I was Abraham Lincoln. That is literally a thing a child would do.
We do have one grocery store that started to have their hot bar out again.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not cool.
And it's just and then there's it's got a table with a bunch of spilled gloves that are just if you get hot bar, wear gloves while you do it. It's you can't trust us with this.
Yeah. If you getting the broccoli, cheese, and COVID soup, you best be putting on them disgusting gloves.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess they don't want to. I can't fathom what they're thinking with that. It's really gross. And it was also kind of a while ago that they put it back out. It's been out for 6 weeks.
It's killed several people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It just feels like it would have been easier just to make someone's job serving people the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it's just one person not washing their hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one Typhoid Mary and not thousands.
Yeah, it's single-handedly the only thing keeping COVID in this place.
There's some places that are doing I think it's the Whole Foods where there's a line out front and they're only letting so many people in.
Yeah.
And that feels weirdly apocalyptic when you go in because there's only 5 people shopping.
Yeah.
And it's quiet. Or there's, they've got whatever music playing.
They turn off their music so that you feel weird.
Yeah. I can just sing the Gin Blossoms now for you if you'd like.
Yeah, they've just turned off all of the music and they just play Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead over and over.
There you go.
Bum everyone the fuck out.
Yeah, but I feel the grocery stores have been, other than the hot bar, which is mad.
Unforgivable.
It's been pretty normal. I feel it was the most intense the first few days, leading up to being locked down.
Oh, yeah, it was wild.
I just remember feeling such a strong feeling of, camaraderie, I guess, with other grocery shoppers.
Yeah. In
a way I never expected to, where we were all just kind of looking around how afraid should we be? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now it's sort of confusing because I think there's a little bit maybe of COVID tension, but it's mostly racial tension.
Right. Yeah.
And authority tension. Because I never experienced this in California, but maybe you've seen it. But here, I feel there's a lot of cops that are just security guards for private businesses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a lot more of that here, and it feels weirder now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's, Louisiana and Alabama, where I'm from, are both kind of classic examples of states that, they put most of their resources for, the public sector directly into policing, and that then becomes the de facto security for places. There are towns in the South where 2/3 of the calls that cops answer are to Walmart for people stealing shit. And it's why isn't Walmart paying for this? This seems like a Walmart problem, not a fucking police problem.
Yeah.
I would argue it's not even a Walmart problem. They are still making too much money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and they factored this
let
in.
them take the stuff.
Yeah, it should. Yes. Well, and they've even factored that into their accounting. So when they're saying that they're mad about this and prosecuting people, they're fucking lying. It's why they're introducing self-checkouts, and replacing all those employees. That's where that money goes. We don't have to pay humans anymore. So now we can put it towards loss prevention.
It's to keep their insurance low.
Yep.
To assume that they do care and that they are trying to make a difference. Policing in New Orleans is basically the largest factory job you can get here.
Yeah.
Because it's something that, tons of people do, and that there are some police officers who are clearly, physically fit enough to do their job, as in, I don't know, trying to catch someone.
Yeah.
But then there are a ton of people who seem like it just goes from police uniform to oversized jersey to, when fat people wear, fat guys will wear the longest version of a short something. So really long shorts.
Oh, hey.
Or a 5XL. Oh yeah, I've lived it.
I was going to say,
XL t-shirt that goes where the shoulder is midway down the arm.
I spent the better part of let's say let's call it the Attitude Era, 1998 to 2001, in extremely long cargo shorts. I told this to Pat, my co-host emeritus, recently, that if things had gone slightly different on a very particular day in the summer of 1998, I would have had an oversized FUBU jersey. The only reason I didn't is because we were supposed to go to the outlet mall, and the day we were planning for it, there was a big storm and the power was out at the outlet mall, so we couldn't go. And I didn't end up going to the FUBU outlet store in Foley, Alabama. Otherwise, there would be pictures of me in a baby blue For Us By Us 05 jersey. So to those cops, I say, I don't much appreciate you or your kind, but in this case, fine. Okay, you can have your big jerseys.
That's what all police uniforms should be now, is just big jerseys.
Yeah. Everyone must dress like Will Smith at the beginning of Men in Black.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking of that, have you guys gone to any of the protests down there? What have those been like, if you've been?
No, I have not gone to any of them. I'm a little bit scared of it here.
Yeah.
Just kind of an intense amount of surveillance and stuff here that freaks me out a little too much. I don't know. I'm sure it was the same in LA, but I feel more aware of it here, how trackable everybody is.
Well, this has been the day. Scrolling all the news feeds that I do to put together this show, there was 10 or 15 stories from all across the country where they used Snapchat, Instagram, shit like that to ID and arrest people who were rioting and stuff like that. They found them based on their tattoos. There was one girl who got caught for throwing a Molotov cocktail because she had a shirt that she bought from an Etsy website. So they actually
oh my God, so it was trackable.
They went to the trouble of okay, she's got this shirt. Where can you get this shirt? Oh, it's only available on this one Etsy. And then they just contacted that person and they fucking ratted on them.
That's crazy.
Would it be cool if I promoted my Etsy now?
We're going to talk about
it. Yeah, my All Cops Are Bastards Etsy is available now.
Yeah, I mean, I just... also, I don't know if... were the Ferguson protesters found, died here, or some of them died here?
Yeah, I think it's two of them were murdered under, weird circumstances here.
Yeah.
So
the stakes feel high here.
Yeah, I bet. It's by far the most cultural and interesting part of the South. So of course there are a million people who are suspicious of it.
I mean, all of that being said, mostly from what I have understood, the protests here have been kind of pretty chill, and the police are pretty weirdly cooperative.
Yeah, it was the first protest they did. They had or not the first one, one of the earlier ones. They went onto the highway and they were on there. It was the third day. Yeah, they were on there for about 4 hours, and then the next day they tried to go up on a different section of it, and they did, and that's when they got pepper sprayed and CS gassed.
With that one, they were trying to cross the bridge across the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
It is interesting. The night before, police escorted them onto the highway, blocked rerouted traffic for them. Were very okay, it's fine, and they let them disperse kind of naturally, they didn't break it up.
Right.
And then the next night, the protesters go out again, and they start walking toward the bridge, and police stop traffic for the on-ramp and allow them to get on the bridge. And from the people I've talked to that were there, allowed them to get a fourth of the way across the bridge, and then stood in a line and were okay, you can't keep going. And then they stood there for 20 minutes of confusion, and I guess the police claim that they kept trying to tell them that they had to leave, they had to turn around, and then they tear gassed them.
Shit.
And the police here had a ton of public meetings afterwards, on Facebook Live, where you could leave comment, and they were very, very we're so sorry, we didn't here's video from a few angles of what happened, and here's us trying to talk to the protest leaders, and it just didn't look great. That's okay, so you escorted all these protesters into an area where there were no bystanders who could be filming it.
Yep.
And then got them into the most dangerous situation possible, where it's not there's high guardrails, because they don't expect pedestrians up there.
Is that the same bridge from Katrina, where there were people shot on that bridge?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, hey, New Orleans police, stay the fuck off that bridge. It's not going to look good ever. Jesus.
Yeah, not a good idea. But so I don't know. I haven't gone to any protests here. I donated when they arrested people for tearing down the statue. But
what statue got removed in New Orleans?
I don't know the guy's name. He's not a famous Confederate to me.
Oh, okay. Okay. He's not one of the Hall of Famers.
Yeah, to my California educated ass, I didn't. It's if he's not one of the three that I know. But his statue got torn down and then tossed into the river.
There's a really good video of people trying to remove the statue from the river, while the calliope from the Notches doodles out "God Bless America."
I haven't seen that. That's funny.
It's really just all right, dystopia 2020. This is a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new.
Apparently, it was the statue of slave owner John McDonough.
He sounds bad.
Yeah, he sounds bad.
I'm okay with his statue being gone. In general, I don't feel like I care about statues. I don't think that they deserve respect.
Right.
In general.
Also, there's, a town like New Orleans that has almost nothing but cool people from it. It's I don't know, get some better fucking heroes. Where's Fats Domino's fucking statue?
I imagine that there is a Fats Domino statue somewhere.
If there's not, get on it. And if there is, then cool. I'm gonna go see it next time I come to see you guys.
Yeah, it feels like there's a weird kind of timeline about how statues are kind of made and put out, and how you get a statue. There's a bunch of statues from a short amount of time of history, not necessarily even just the Confederate ones, but there's a bunch of statues, and then there's no statues at all.
Yeah.
Except for a bust in the wing of some kind of municipal building, maybe, or art center.
Yeah.
And then there'll just be a statue for a guy who died 5 years ago, and it's huge.
Yeah. Well, I got one little news item that I was going to share with you guys that kind of relates to what we were just talking about, and I would say file this one under the "That's what we've been saying" category. This is from Business Insider. George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis on Memorial Day, which is more than 3 weeks ago. Because the coronavirus incubation period is typically about 2 weeks or less, you might expect hospitals and COVID-19 testing centers to see some of the first new cases tied to the millions of protesters that took to the streets. But so far, that does not seem to be the case, despite the big crowds. In all major major cities, including New York, Philadelphia, D.C., and Chicago, where numerous protests have taken place, the numbers of new corona cases are actually declining despite widespread testing. Yeah, so it turns out that, all those people in the streets wearing masks, that actually does something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
In addition to mask wearing, one clear piece of corona advice that's been touted by the CDC, WHO, as well as independent infectious disease experts around the globe, go outside, because it's a lot harder for this virus to fester out in fresh air and sun. Many scientific studies about coronavirus transmission outdoors are still under peer review, but a Chinese group of researchers noted that among 318 separate coronavirus outbreaks in that country, only one was spread outside. Another study done in Japan found that the odds of COVID-19 transmitting in a closed environment were nearly 19 times higher than out in fresh air. So my next question, how was it going to a movie theater and seeing Jurassic Park?
Well, yeah, it was really funny because we just went into phase 2 this week.
Yeah.
And so I know some of the chains are open, but I was like, man, I just don't trust AMC to care if I die or their employees die.
Yeah.
But our local movie house kind of first run indie film theater is pretty close to my house, and I saw that they were open, and I looked on their Instagram and they showed photos of how spaced the seats are.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, that seems okay. So it felt actually fine. It was totally safe. It was me and my old roommate went to go see the movie, so we sat next to each other. She's in my pod.
Okay.
And there were 3 other people in the theater that were 5 rows back.
Yeah.
And so you had to wear a mask everywhere except for in your seat. In your seat, you could take it off and eat popcorn and stuff if you want. Or drink a soda. I feel like popcorn is real fingers in your mouth food, so I didn't do it.
Oh, yeah?
I just feel like it's popcorn is really intended to be eaten alone in solitude.
Yeah.
It just felt too contagious.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was totally chill experience. You just wear your mask. Everyone's kind of nice. Everyone they kind of had lanes of how they wanted people to move through the theater. So it's one-way traffic to get to to get to your theater and then to leave.
Now that you just said that I'm now suddenly picturing a truly terrible invention, but something would be fun to do for to troll Shark Tank. Would be to have N95 masks that are also feed bags. So you strap them to your face, and it's just a bag of popcorn, so you can literally just sit there and eat it like a pelican.
That'd be perfect. I'd love that. I was too afraid. I drank a soda. I took my mask off and sipped a soda, but it felt safe. It didn't feel weird. I can't imagine how that theater is making enough money to be open.
Yeah.
I wanted to support them because it's important to me that stays open.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's cool that they're playing old movies people love. And Jurassic Park, really stands up to the test of time. It's so good.
Yeah. We did a Patreon episode a few weeks back with our friend Kurt Steinmuller about somebody asked us to cover Jurassic Park on Patreon, and I was like, well, Jurassic Park is a perfect movie, so there's nothing to make fun of. How about we watch Jurassic World 2 Fallen Kingdom, which is butt fuck insane. It's an absolutely insane film.
I genuinely can't remember any movies but Jurassic Park in that franchise.
Oh yeah, well this one matters the least. I can assure you. It's
cool.
It's a movie that takes place in a mansion. They have an auction to I guess have rich people buy dinosaurs for combat, so they can invade. I would assume Palestine with them, but yeah, it's real stupid. I love it.
I did enjoy watching Jurassic Park right now and just seeing it through a lens of anti-capitalism.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And I was I was like, man, Jeff Goldblum gives like some pretty cool anti-capitalist speeches in the beginning of this movie.
Oh yeah, well that's the big transition you make from childhood to adulthood is when you realize that John Hammond is the villain.
Yeah, truly. I really this time I was watching it, I was like, oh, he like sucks.
Yeah, he is crazy and shouldn't have done this.
Yeah, and Jeff Goldblum's character is maybe a little flawed. He's definitely touching Laura Dern more than he should.
For sure.
But it's okay.
Yeah. It's just Jeff being Jeff.
Yeah, pretty fun. That's fun about him. It's just that it's okay that he's like that. And why is he so... It's weird. I mean, I like him. I find him totally charming in everything he's in.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can't even put my finger on why he's so sexual. Like, what is it that's making this so sexual?
I think it's that voice. I think it's the voice.
Kind of like purrs and moans while he talks.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Did you ever hear his interview on Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was too spicy.
I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
I would love if they fell in love.
Yeah. Let's ship Cone Bloom.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, we stan Cone Bloom. Oh shit. Well, it's been very fun to talk to you. Monika, can you tell people where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, so you can listen to my podcast that Rivers is also always on. He's our permanent guest. It's called What Did You Learn? And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. I'm really into TikTok now. And Mighty Monika with a K. And Alex doesn't really do stuff online.
He does Instagram sometimes. Top Gravy Reviews on Instagram.
Yes. Although I think it's a private account, so good luck getting in there.
Oh, only the elites. Tell them Rivers sent you, and they'll let you go back door. All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in and talking with me, and we'll hopefully get to talk again soon. I'm optimistic that we might have a boogie in Waverly in October, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed,
Yeah. That is the show.